So something really interesting happened to me last week, and I wanted to talk about it because I've been reflecting on it and the lesson within. And it was basically a couple of things that kind of all built together, and with what I was doing in a course with Georgia Rose at the time. I was doing a course, I'm still just this week on basically, it's called Secure in Love, but it's about being secure within yourself. And I had been triggered by something. So basically, I've been watching a video that was part of the practitioner training I'm doing, and the girl within it that was the client had triggered me. And I was observing myself within this trigger and what was going on in my head. And basically, I was like angry because she was this cute little girl, blonde, a lot younger than me. And she was, beautiful accent. And basically, she was had 2 breakups in the last month. And I was really angry. Because it's like, she had 2 breakups in 1 month when I haven't even had anyone ask for my phone number in 2 years, right? Which is fine. I'm not asking for that. But it's this whole, like, this part of me, right, was like, what's wrong with me, right? And then I'm reflecting and being triggered by this. And then it was this whole, like, because she was so little and petite and so cute with her little accent, and she was so beautiful, and I was like getting really angry, right? Is that how what I have to be to attract a mate? And I don't want to be like that. I don't want to need a white knight, and all this narrative that was running through my head, right? Which I was observing, which is quite interesting. Anyway, so at the same time, we were studying wants and needs. And I realized that I didn't know what I wanted or needed. Well, I was getting an idea of it, but I didn't know what it was okay to ask for in relationship, because everything I had asked for that I had really wanted for me, I'd either had to fight for it to get it, or it had been rejected or not allowed, or if I'd gotten it, there'd been a lot of negativity that had come with it, like, not happiness in giving it. And my needs were not important. My personal needs were not important unless they aligned with the other person's personal needs. So it's this whole, like, well, then what are we allowed to want? What are we allowed to need? Because I had taken myself away, and it was like, well, I can be this solo, person. I don't need anybody else. But then there's this, like, real loneliness that comes with that, and getting to a point of realizing that I actually want relationship, right? And then trying to find a space within that of, well, what is a healthy relationship? What does it look like when you take out you move away from codependency, and you're giving yourself what you want and need? Well, what is it okay to ask for? Anyway, so this is what's going on in the background, right? So on one hand, I'm being triggered by some cute little girl who, or woman, I should say, who I think of myself as a girl as well. A cute little woman who's got, like, obviously men just, like, falling over themselves to date her. And then there's me. And and everything that I made that mean. And then this whole, like, well, what am I allowed to want and need? So then I go to bed after, it was sort of the night after I'd been at course and questioning these wants and needs, and I wake up in the middle of the night. And we'd been doing shadow work as well, right? So the shadow work which is the parts of you that are in your unconscious, right, that you deny, and then you reflect them onto other people and project them, and then you either, like, which is what I was doing with this goal, right? So I was denying the part of me that was allowed to be helpless. It's going to make more sense now. I was denying the part of me that was allowed to be helpless. And I was denying the part of me that was allowed to be feminine and pretty, because I had to be so strong, and I'd always have to be in my masculine and in my jobs, and, like, holding everything together in my marriage, and doing everything and being all singing or dancing. And there'd be no room for my feminine. I'm only really developing a relationship with her in the last year. And what I had been hiding in my unconscious was the being able to be helpless and vulnerable and ask for help, right? And have wants and needs, and to have them met. And that's why I was, like, getting triggered by this girl, because she was, well, from what I could see, able to have wants and needs, and maybe able to be a bit vulnerable and able to ask for help. And I mean, maybe she wasn't, right, but that's what I was projecting. Anyway, so I go to bed and I wake up at 2 a.m. with having this dream of this, that I've grazed my knee. And the pain has woken me up, and I'm like, that's so weird. And I hop out of bed to go to the toilet, and I look down, and I've got this, like, red patch on my knee. And it does kind of look a bit like a graze, right? It was hurting. It feels like a graze too. So I'm like, oh, that's so weird. And I go to the bathroom, and I'm like, when did I hurt my knee? And I've been pretty busy lately with different things and all these different courses, and I had my mum here for 3 weeks, and now I'm trying to work enough to catch up with all the stuff that I didn't get done while she was here. And so I'm like, it's possible that I had grazed my knee and forgotten, right? And or maybe I did it on the yoga mat, or maybe I had it, and then I'm like, well, no, I didn't do that. So maybe I burned it on my hot water bottle. So I go back and I'm filling my hot water bottle to see if that was possible, and it's not, because it's got a cover on it, and there's no way I could have burnt my knee like this. And then that's so weird. And then I wandered back to the bathroom, and then my legs went out from underneath me. It was like this whoomp through my body. And then my heart rate went up, and I got really cold, and I got really shaky. And I sat down on the edge of the toilet seat and had my head between my knees because I thought I was going to throw up. And I'm like, I've been bitten by something. Oh my God, it's like a spider bite. I crawled back to the bedroom, and I'm trying to find this damn spider to see what it was. Right? I never found it. To wash everything just in case it was like a white tail or something. And this part of me is in the back of my head is like running around screaming hysterically, right? Panicking, because I live alone, and I live in an apartment building where you need a key. There's no key for the front door. It's a keypad to get in. And then I have a keypad on my door as well. So I can't ever lock myself out. And it's not a door that you can unlock and leave unlocked. It always locks automatically. So I'm on the toilet thinking, is this getting worse? Am I going to die? Do I ring 000? And from the point of a person who's very strong and very proud and very capable and very able to do everything themselves, to have to ring for 000 when you're not actually 100% sure if you need it or not is a big call. And I'm sitting there, and I'm getting worse, and I'm thinking, am I going to lose cognitive function soon? And if so, I really need to make this call now so I can, with clarity, give them the code to get in the front door, and how to get in give them instructions on how to get in my door so they can find me if I'm unconscious, right? And so I had to ring 000. And it was really hard for me to do because I felt really weak. The shadow, right, of this girl. I felt like this weak, defenseless female who was asking for help. And it was worse because I didn't actually know for sure if I needed it. And before I made the call, I found myself using my medical knowledge to analyze, was I dying or not? And I realized that the only way I was allowed to ask for help was if I was dying. That was it in my head. That's the only time. Anyway, so I made the call. And then I managed to get dressed, get down to my lounge room, and then probably about 5 minutes. So they're really quick. I heard the ambulance sort of pull up and heard them getting out. And I was able, actually, I wasn't getting any worse. I wasn't getting any better, but I wasn't getting any worse. So I managed to get down and let them into the building. And then it was like mayhem because my dogs were just going crazy. And Ebony's just hiding underneath the coffee table down here, just like barking at these poor paramedics the whole time. It was like just chaos. And then I'm like mortifyingly embarrassed because it wasn't getting worse, and I didn't actually need an ambulance, right? So the very nice ambulance officers were very good about it, and they agreed, no, it was better that I call for them. But the thing I loved was when she's looking at my knee and she's like, well, we're not really experts on rashes. And I'm like, oh, the shame. They're probably still talking about that woman who called them out at 2:00 in the morning because she had a rash on her knee. So we all agreed that it obviously wasn't getting worse, and I didn't need to go into hospital for observation because, as I said, look, it's not getting any worse. The rash isn't getting any bigger. It was still painful, and I still felt like crap, right? But all my vitals were fine, and so I went back up to bed, and then there was this like real aloneness and panicking of like, did I make the right call by not going to hospital? And for a while, it did seem to get worse, and then it was like me coming to terms with death, right? And being annoyed that I hadn't managed to get everything that I wanted to get done in life done, and I'd worked so hard to get to this point, and I was going to die, and then just making peace with that. So there was a lot of really beautiful things that came out of this experience. So between recognizing my shadow and the part of me that isn't allowed to be helpless and isn't allowed to be vulnerable and ask for help, to analyzing my ability to ask for help and my wants and my needs, and realizing that I was only able to ask for help if I was dying, and then facing death and being okay with it, being comfortable with it, and like, being annoyed I was going to have to start again, and everything like that. But yeah, got to the point I was comfortable with it. Anyway, I just wanted to share this with you. I hope you got something out of it, even if it was just a laugh. And I will see you in the next video.